Yun nga, you do remember it was an agreement brokered by the president.
Yes.
Politics. Remember, this
But
was
of course, yeah.
right after
course,
the elections, di ba?
But of course, in the end, the congressman cast the votes.
And nagpanalo naman sa kanya yung isa. So, may ganyan eh. Siyempre.
Kaya nga.
Okay, let's try again. Si Congressman Villaferte, baka may success na tayo this time. Congressman, House Deputy Speaker L.A. Villaferte of Camarines. Sir, let's try again. You can
Wala pa rin yata. Wala pa rin yata.
Wala pa. Yeah.
Hindi kaya ng powers natin.
So ngayon,
yung isa pang complication sa issue kasi involved yung mga anak ng presidente, di ba?
Right.
Kaya gano'n.
Paulo Duterte, who is a deputy speaker now also, di ba, is allied with Lord Alan Velasco.
Lord Alan Velasco, the presumptive, I don't know if that's the right word, the one who was supposed to take over come October.
At saka considering the recent past, yung nangyari, hindi ba yung pagkaalis naman kay Speaker Alvarez noon
Right.
It's widely credited to Sara Duterte Carpio also.
Right.
Kaya syempre, hindi rin maalis na may connection sa Malacanang pa rin.
Right.
Subukan ulit natin siya.
Ngayon, mainit yung budget hearings, di ba?
Another one.
Lalo na dun sa allocation sa DPWH budget. So,
election budget yun
Yeah.
Okay, let's try again.
Okay.
Mukhang pasok tayo ngayon. Congressman Villaferte, can you hear, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay na.
Yes, sir. Ayun. Yes, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. Welcome to the CHIEFS po.
Yes.
Sir, diretsuhin ko na po kayo. Anong plano ni Speaker? Kasi sabi ng Palasyo, syempre in the end the President hopes that everybody honors the agreement, but in the end nga it all boils down to what the congressman will do.
Well, I made a statement early this morning that if the President allows the majority of congressmen to decide, definitely si Speaker Alan has the supermajority. And we're happy at least, sinabi naman po ng Palasyo na he will let the congressmen decide. And I think that's a good sign because the majority really is for Speaker Alan, and any change now will really derail the budget and affect the legislative agenda of the administration. But having said that, kami naman po is committed to pass the budget by October 15, despite what happened last week. Sa akin naman, what happened last week is part of the process of transparency and due process. Each congressman naman can speak out whatever they feel or concern. Transparent naman yan, live naman sa Facebook. But if you will see today and yesterday, stable naman sa House, and most of the congressmen naman agree on the Speaker that people first, politics later. Meaning, we have to pass the budget, and we agree with the Palace na negotiable po ang delay sa budget. So, we're on schedule we will pass it by October 15. Ipapasa namin yan by third reading o by October 15 or before. So, we will leave it up to the Senate after that. But again,
yes, sir.
Priority ang budget and on time po kami.
Yes, sir. Sir, let me just retweak the question po. Granted nga na in the end, it's the congressman who will make the vote or cast the vote and decide on who the speaker is. But given the fact that there was an agreement between the two parties, kay Lord Alan Velasco at kay Speaker Cayetano, would Speaker Cayetano do something like move to declare the speakership vacant, if only to respect that agreement by next month? Kasi it could go either way. If he does make that move, and then somebody can say no, we won't make any secondary move, and then that seals the deal. But would the speaker make that kind of a move to respect that agreement?
We haven't really talked about this, no. Actually, anybody can move at any time because that is in terms of priority. Any move to declare any position vacant is priority. So anybody can move that at that time, at any time. But hindi namin pinag-usapan yan dahil ang focus namin budget. So technically naman kasi ang end of the 15 months is November pa naman eh. So it's only September. So it's really premature to be talking about all these things. Although hindi talaga ma-avoid na pag-usapan. Because yun na nga, di ba, I mentioned earlier, yung nagkaroon ng kaguluhan the other day, we suspect that this was part of the other camp to derail the budget and to put the leadership issue, the term sharing issue, primordial to the budget na hindi kami nag-agree. So sabi namin, ang term sharing naman talaga technically will end by end of October and the 21 months will start on November. By then, yung budget tapos na po. But again, with the positive development statement of the palace na they will let the congressmen decide, for me, that's good news and that will have more stability in Congress.
Pero Congressman, ano ba yung rule doon? Halimbawa, kung natuloy yung term sharing, ano ba yung process? Kailangan pa bang pagbotohan yan just to reaffirm na matutuloy nga yung term sharing? Or kung hindi, pwede pa rin bang pagbotohan if anyone moves na idadaan ba yan sa vote? Kung gustong ituloy pa rin yung term sharing. Kasi yung sa palasyo medyo ambivalent, no? Kasi sinabi din ng palasyo na the president is hoping na matutuloy yung term sharing agreement. So kung merong mag-move nun, ano yung process na kailangang sundin? Or is there any rule at all governing that kind of issue?
Anybody can move at any time, ma'am, but that has to be put on a vote because if they're asked, there's a move to declare all seats vacant, are you in favor or not? And if they say we're not, that puts the motion, practically puts it on the table or patay na yan. It's hard kasi you need a majority eh. First, you need a majority to approve the motion, then on any move. So, we motion to declare position vacant. They have to have the majority to approve that. Then they move. They move to nominate Speaker Alan Cayetano to be Speaker, and they have to vote for that. So technically, kailangan na majority talaga, ma'am.
Pero you're talking about a supermajority. You also acknowledge na fluid yung mga loyalty sa House eh. May mga perception na Lord Alan Velasco is backed by the children of the President himself. So, pwedeng bumaliktad dyan anytime. You also acknowledge na there is that possibility.
There's always a possibility, ma'am, but again, the President is the leader of the party eh. Despite the fact that may separation of powers ang executive, legislative, si President Duterte po ang leader ng coalition, so he has the final say. Then secondly, ano yan eh, ang tanong ko kasi, sino ba talaga nagsusupport kay Lord Alan? Diba? I mean, you have to ask that question. Kami malinaw who are supporters of Speaker Cayetano. But kanina, nagsalita po si Congressman Fred Castro saying that he's in favor of Alan Cayetano continuing, and he questioned the actions of Lord Velasco by not being present in Congress, by not defending the institution, not defending the stand of the President, the legislative measures. Ang sabi ni Congressman Fred, nasan ba siya? Ngayon ang tanong ko, sino ba ang supporter ni Lord Velasco, ma'am? Diba? I mean, if you want to be speaker, you should have at least, 10, 20 core group that supporting you. Sino ba yun? That's my question. Kasi most of the people that initially supported Lord in that fight with Congressman Martin and Congress Speaker Alan, lahat nabigyan naman ng posisyon at masaya eh. Si Congressman Johnny Pimentel is Deputy Speaker, Congressman Dong Gonzales was appointed Deputy Speaker. So all of the loyal supporters previously of Lord Velasco were given positions, and I don't think they want to rock the boat now because they're happy not only with their position, but they're very happy with the performance of the Speaker, Alan Cayetano.
Pero sino bang mga nag-agree dun sa term sharing? Hindi ba kasama dyan si Speaker Cayetano? Halimbawa, wouldn't he be in a way reneging if he does not, sabihin na lang natin, voluntarily give way to Lord Alan Velasco here? Because isn't that supposed to be a gentleman's agreement? Brokered by no less than the President.
Actually, ang ating Pangulo po yung nag-set niyan. In good faith naman, si President, di ba, he was letting the three parties fight it out. Nung hindi ma-settle, he said, sige, term sharing na lang. 15 months si Speaker Alan, 21 months si Lord. Ang nangyari kasi, dapat that time, si Lord Velasco should have been supportive of Speaker Alan, lahat ng moves para kumbaga, ikaw ang incoming speaker, presumptive speaker ka, dapat you're already paving the way in the next 15 months para maganda yung transition. Ang problema na wala po siya Inoferan nga siya ni Speaker Alan ng Speaker Pro Tem or Senior Deputy Speaker, meaning Speaker in Waiting. Hindi niya inaccept di ba? So, he's losing by default. In all the major issues in Congress, nasan po siya? Yung botohan ng anti-terror bill, what was his stand? Ano bang stand niya sa ABS-CBN franchise? Where was he when the Taal erupted? Where was he during Bayanihan 1? Where was he Bayanihan 2? So if ever most of his supporters lost faith and trust in him, he lost by default. So for me, personally, I support Speaker Alan because I know for a fact that Congress got the highest rating under his term ever. He's performing masipag, hindi lang sa salita, sa gawa. So for me, it's a disservice to the country kung majority of the congressmen want change now, panahon ng COVID. Ngayon, sinabi mo, ma'am, nagkaroon ng agreement. Yeah, ma'am, but hindi naman natin inaasahan na magka-COVID. And the only constant thing in this world is change. So, di ba po, ma'am? It doesn't mean that there was an agreement that you won't adjust to the times. I think you will agree with me, any change now will be not good for the country. Kung hindi nagpa-perform si Speaker Alan, then that's another story. But he's performing. Last budget, sabi, oy, may park funds. Patapos na po yung 2020. Wala namang issue po That means we passed a budget with no park funds. And we're committed to pass the budget again for 2021, despite the initial grumblings, na walang park funds. Kasi we will follow the Constitution, we will follow what the Supreme Court says. So, bottom line, majority of the congressmen support Speaker Alan. Masipag, maganda ang trust rating, maganda ang awareness rating. He has the support of the President. Sabi ng Pangulo, kung wala naman numbers, pakinggan natin ang Congress. So, we highly respect that.
Sir,
Ganun pa man, meron pa minsan, pag umaasa pa rin daw siya, no? Na i-honor nga. Hindi ba na-pressure kaya kayo na, alam niyo yun, tumalikod din sa, kumbaga, sabihin na natin, pakiusap na i-honor yung agreement. Not to mention nga that Lord Alan Dalacto has the support of the Duterte siblings.
Actually, siya pong tumalikod sa Congress Post nga siya sa Facebook, abangan na lang niyo ako maging speaker and I will show how I will run Congress. But that's not the way it should be done. You should have shown your capacity to lead. The first day the 18th Congress was diba, you started, diba? I mean, let's admit it. Does he have the gravitas to lead the 18th Congress compared to Alan Cayetano, who was Secretary of Foreign Affairs, was Councilor, was Senator? In terms of credibility, gravitas, Speaker Alan definitely is a better qualified speaker. Ngayon, in terms of credentials...
Actually, that's a question of many, sir, no? Ano nga ba ang dahilan at naging first in the running pa nga siya, no? For speaker 2 years ago. Ano nga ba ang dahilan? Bakit nga ba? Because now, you seem to be saying, ano bang gravitas niya? Well, actually, that's the question of many people. That was the question of many people back then, no? When the speakership was still in question. Bakit nga ba?
Naputol. Mukhang naputol.
Yeah. Sayang. Kasi gusto ko nalaman, di ba, parang kino-confirm niya ngayon.
He gives the impression na hindi matutuloy talaga
Diba? Kasi tayo naman, we were all wondering, bakit si Lord Alan? What's with Lord Alan? Diba? That all of a sudden he's in the running for speaker. So,
but they all agreed to it. They all agreed to it, despite all the questions now about whether he has gravitas or not. They all agreed to it last year.
Exactly. Kaya nga So, siguro parang, baka siguro sinasabi niya, well, he had 15 months to show his stuff, but did he? Siguro that's his question.
Mm-hmm.
Siya nga yung manok nila Sara Duterte.
Yeah.
Kaya and that has changed, ha?
Yeah.
Don't think has changed eh. So, paano ngayon?
Yeah.
Saka,
And
hindi
it was an interesting weekend, Bok. It was an interesting weekend. Si Pulong Duterte issued a pretty strongly worded statement that he was going to challenge Speaker Cayetano nung yesterday, na hindi natuloy.
Hindi naman yung basta-basta mag-withdraw ng gano'n.
Yeah. Pero
Diba?
pinawi rin niya, di ba?
Oo nga, hindi
Pinawi
natuloy.
niya.
Hindi natuloy
Yeah.
ng Monday eh.
Hmm.
So that leaves you a big question mark if there are talks going on behind the scenes.
Yes,
Nga
yes.
daw sila. Hindi, nag-usap sila ni Alan. Kaya hindi natin alam kung ano, saka ang status quo, hindi naman sinabing, hindi na matutuloy yan. Di ba? Hindi
Wala
naman,
naman kaya ito sa budget.
hindi
Or budget ang ginagamit nila ngayon na parang vehicle to push the agenda. Or,
yes.
baka yun.
Laging malaking issue yung away sa budget eh. That's a big issue. Especially ang mga congressman, lalo na mag-election nga. Mag-umpisa na yung campaigning informal na.
Right.
Informal campaigning for 2022 this
Of
year.
course. Yeah.
Let's be a bit more specific. Allotments.
Exactly.
Let's be a bit more specific. Allotments. Kasi when you say budget, parang
When you look at the amounts, no, nagko-complain si Congressman Teves kasi 2 billion lang sila. 2 billion. Parang pag-isipin mo, wow.
Yan, subukan na ulit natin si
Kasi naman, 11.8 billion ang CAMSOR,
That's
di ba? At
Congressman Villaferte, are you back, sir?
Ma'am, I can hear you. Narinig ko na yung CAMSOR, ma'am.
There you go. There you go.
Pinag-uusapan ng budget.
Pinag-usapan namin yung budget allotments eh.
Tinatanong namin malaking issue yung congressman, di ba? Kung yan ang pinag-aawayan eh. Kasi yan yung naging
Pwede ka ba
issue over
sagutin
the
yun, ma'am?
weekend. Na budget daw ang pinag-aawayan. It's very important, especially next year. So mukhang kaya iniisip ng mga tao ngayon, tuloy pa rin actually yung away eh. Tama ba yung perception namin na yun?
Well, sa congressman, 300 ang congressman. Kumbaga sa pamilya, 300 ang anak. Hindi mo naman talaga masasatisfy yan. Napakalaki niyan from Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. Pero linawin ko lang, ma'am, sinabi kasi ni Congressman Arnie Teves sa CAMSOR raw, 11.8 billion.
Yes.
Sabi ko sa kanya, saan mo naman nakuha yan? Sabi niya, narinig ko. Sabi ko, ilatag mo sa publiko yan kasi na mali yan. Tapos nag-post po siya sa Facebook, 7.5 CAMSOR. Pero ma'am, ang CAMSOR has 5 districts. So sinabi ko, kung 7.5 yan, 5 kami, di lugi rin kami. Ikaw 2 billion ka, laki-laki mo. Tapos sinabi ko sa kanya, you have to understand, CAMSOR has 5 districts, 2 million people, and CAMSOR is bigger than Negros Oriental. And it's 5 districts. Ang sama kasi ma'am ng insinuation na pag sinabing CAMSOR, El Rey Villafuerte yun. Mali po yun. We have 5 districts. And yung kay Arnie Teves, marami na nagsita sa kanya because there are 165 districts with less than 2 billion. So, and narinig po siya, bakit ka ba nagkaklamo? Sabi niya gusto rin niya 3 billion. But it's not that easy kasi, ma'am, you have to understand, this budget is the president's budget. Meaning, this was submitted by the DBM, DPWH, galing sa executive to. So if you have any questions, the executive will answer. He's making it appear that it's the speaker and me who made this budget. Ngayon, we're lucky, ako po, meron po kaming CAMSOR Expressway and a coastal highway na flagship project. Kaya lumaki po yung CAMSOR as a whole. But that's not a local project. So, it's transparent naman, ma'am. Kita naman yan sa budget, kita sa website. Wala kaming tinatago. But pangit lang insinuation that ako raw sa kasi speaker malaki. Ang reality, mas marami pong district na mas malaki sa amin. And ma'am, ang allocation naman is not dependent on the absorptive capacity as he says.
Yeah,
Marami pong factors yan eh. Mas malaki ba ang probinsya mo? Mas malaki ba ang highway mo? So, yan yung mga, ako nga, kung pwede rin ako mag-complain, bakit ang Albay, which has 4 districts, mas malaki sa CAMSOR? But that's not how it should be looked at. Yun lang, pangit lang kasi tignan, ma'am, parang nag-aaway sa pondo, ma'am, na pangit lang talaga.
Yung Kapitolyo mo raw, 450 million, may ganyan pa. Klaro,
ma'am. Totoo yun, ma'am. Hindi ko tinatago yun. Kasi, ma'am, ang Kapitolyo ng CAMSOR, 6 years ago, dilapidated, declared abandoned by the structural engineer. Meaning, pag nag-earthquake, lulubog. So, for 6 years, makeshift lang kami. And we asked Malacanang for 3 years na tulungan kami. And nabagyan kami this year. Ang tanong ko naman sa nagrereklamo, ano naman na masama na mag-request kami ng Capitol na samantalang kayo nagre-request kayo ng public market? ng mga terminal ng jeep at bus, ano naman ang difference ng bus terminal sa Capitolio, which is the seat of government? So, ma'am, saka may precedent po kami. In 1978, the national government funded the construction of the provincial capital. So, ano po yan, ma'am? 42 years after, humihingi rin kami ng tulong. And hindi lang po CAMSUR po ang ginawa niyan. Ang Isabela, maraming probinsya, munisipyo na tinulungan po ng national government. So, ma'am, transparent naman, wala naman tinatago. Kapitolyo naman, hindi naman, sa tingin ko naman, maganda naman yan po, ma'am. So, hindi kami, ang sinasabi ko sa kanya, baka inggit lang sila na hindi sila nanghingi, hindi sila nabigyan.
Kaya naman yung problema, may inggit eh. Oo. Hindi
Saka
nga.
ma'am naman, siguro naman, most of you have heard when I was governor, we really transformed CAMSUR, yung ad Congress. I mean, na-transform naman, natumasenso naman yung lugar. We used to be one of the poorest province and because of tourism and other things we have done, nag-asenso. And what we're building is an iconic Capitol building. Ngayon, sabi, bakit gagawa niyan panahon ng COVID? 6 years ago na namin ni-request yan eh. Kung nag-grant yan this year, I mean, we're lucky, di ba? Saka it will provide jobs naman and it will create a symbol and a landmark in the Bicol region. So, we're proud of that. Ang mahirap yung mag-request ka ng road leading to nowhere, a bridge leading to nowhere, yun nakakahiya yun, ma'am. Pero yung Kapitolyo, I think, we will be proud as a Filipino once it's done. In fact, nanalo na nga ng design award yun eh. Yung Kapitolyo namin, di pa nako-construct.
Okay, going back
Sir, balikan ko lang yung issue kanina, sir. Kasi kanina we were getting the impression na mukhang, from what you were saying kanina, na mukhang hindi na matutuloy yung 1521. At least that's the impression that we're getting in our discussion with you earlier. So, ganun nga ba? Mukhang dead in the water na yung any move to go push through with that agreement.
I always say that we will follow the lead of the president, being the leader of the coalition. Pag sinabi niyang palitan next year, next month, susunod po kami kasi he's the leader of the coalition. However, pag sinabi naman ng Pangulo, I will let Congress decide, we will also follow him. And the overwhelming majority of congressmen support Speaker Alan. So that's my clear categorical answer to that.
Okay, balikan ko lang yung tanong ko bago kayo mawala, no? You were saying na wala namang gravitas, at least that's what you're implying, no? Actually, it goes back to the question of the public, even during the run-up to the selection of Speaker 2 years or 3 years ago, no? 2 years ago. Bakit nga ba si Congressman Velasco naging top runner? Was it on the strength of his contributions to the campaign, or is it his relationship with the Duterte siblings? And don't you feel pressure somehow, knowing that he has the backing of the Duterte kids?
Na nagparamdam ng weekend.
Yes.
I cannot answer that, but I have to admit, of course, the president has a wide influence. Deputy Speaker Pulong Duterte, who's the son, who's an incumbent congressman, a deputy speaker, has weight in influence in Congress. Mayor Sara, of course, is highly respected. We truly respect her. Very influential po, not only in Congress, but the Mindanao Bloc. Not only because she's the daughter, but marami rin po siyang kaibigan in Congress. And so all these things we consider. So with regards to Lord, well, anybody can aspire naman, di ba, to be speaker. And prior to that, di ba, meron pa naman iba nag-aspire, but it all boiled down to 3. For example, si Congressman Martin Romualdez, if you ask him, why did he aspire? I think naman everybody has a right to aspire. But bottom line, you need the support of the president and the majority of congressmen. So that's my answer to that. I don't really know why. Well, siguro, hindi naman masamang managinip. I think it's every congressman dream to be a speaker.
Hindi kaya you're heading into a very unstable era in your term now, no? With 2021 being the eve of election year. And now, even as early as now, talks of a coup, And you're saying that actually, in effect, anybody can declare the seats vacant. So are we headed for a very unstable period in Congress?
You can look at it that way, but ako, positive. If there's always any person who wants to declare vacant, the only counter to that is perform. Diba? Perform, make the public see how good you are, and the other congressmen, treat them well, treat them with respect. They have a voice, let them be heard. I think that's a challenge also to Speaker Alan, and I think he's up for the challenge. Day one naman talaga that even if he did not perform, hindi siya abot ng 15 months, ma'am. If we don't perform in the next few weeks, anybody can call for a change. So while you're saying that's not good, it can also be turned into a positive by inspiring all of us behind Speaker to perform better than what we're doing now.
If the Speaker says he's willingly stepping down, dahil yun nga yung hope daw ni Presidente, do you still need a vote to reaffirm the speakership of Lord Alan Velasco? Kahit anong
Definitely.
nangyari ba, do you need a vote?
Definitely, ma'am. You need a vote. Any change in leadership, you need a vote to affirm
To affirm.
the change. Yeah.
But of course, you don't need a vote to change. I mean, you don't need a vote to
Yeah,
to retain the status quo.
Oo.
Yeah.
Of course, di ba?
It's harder
status
to
quo.
make a change. It's if you're the incumbent speaker, it's harder for anyone to oust you because you need a majority vote.
Mm.
Sir, by any chance, is anybody among the 300 members of Congress, is there anybody na nagpapaikot ng papel resolution? Kasi minsan nangyayari sa Kongreso yun eh. May nag-iikot na resolution, expressing support, magpipirma, tapos bigla na lang may lalabas na, oh, we have a majority. Is there any paper going around for or in support of Speaker Cayetano?
Wala naman as of tonight. Wala pa naman. But as you said, that can happen anytime. Even in the Senate, that happens, di ba?
Yes.
So, as of now, wala naman. And we're confident naman with the support of the President, with the support of Deputy Speaker Pulong, and the majority, that stable naman ang condition dito. And right now, we're focused on the budget.
Okay.
Okay. Congressman El Rey Villafuerte, the House Deputy Speaker. Sir, maraming salamat po for joining us tonight.
Maraming salamat. Have a good evening. God bless. Ingat po kayo.
Thank you po.
Thank you, ma'am.
So we will just pause for a break. I think we will be having Benny Abante from the minority when we come back. So stay with us.
Welcome back to the Chiefs. We are now in the final stage of our conversation. And now joining us is House Minority Leader Bienvenido Abante of Manila 6th District. Good evening po, Congressman.
Magandang gabi po.
Welcome back to the Chiefs.
Salamat po sa inyo.
Hi, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Sige, yan pala yung barkada eh.
Nasa bahay ho ba kayo? Parang kakaiba yung simbahan.
Andito ako sa aming church sanctuary.
Ayun, sabi na nga eh. Parang stained glass eh.
Yeah.
Oo.
Yes.
Nagdadasal ba yan tungkol sa mga nangyayari sa house? Kumusta na ba yung status doon ng ano ba, matutuloy ba leadership change? Ang daming spekulasyon ngayon. No matter what,
Matutuloy alin?
matutuloy pa ba leadership change? Kasi sinabi po ngayong
Hindi.
araw ng Malacanang na ang hope daw ni President Duterte is that the two gentlemen will honor their agreement.
No, sa akin I believe we ought to finish the budget deliberations first because that's more important than any political interest.
Nawawala po kayo. Nawawala po kayo, Congressman.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No, sige.
Oo. Sabi ko, unahin na muna natin yung budget deliberation because that's for the people
Hmm.
and that is for the economy. Saka na yung political intramurals.
Pero yun nga daw ang pinag-aawayan, yung budget, that's behind the political intramurals, yung budget deliberation.
Well, there's some, there's some issues on that. Pero nasosolve naman natin sapagkat we're telling them to just personally approach. For example, the secretary of a DPWH or the undersecretaries taking care of a district and just tell them what your district would need. Pero hindi dapat itong maging issue for any kind of the change of leadership in the House. I don't think that at this point in time, with the pandemic and the budget deliberation, that we ought to rock the boat in the middle of the ocean.
Ito bang raw na nagaganap between Congressman Teves and ex-Congressman Albi Benitez and Congressman El Rey, halimbawa, yung pinag-aawayan nilang allocation sa DPWH budget. Don't you consider that a political, ending in a political row? Because now, because of that, nagkakaroon nga ng talks na baka magka-change in leadership.
I do not know why Arnie Teves, he's part of the minority, but I don't know why Arnie Teves is complaining about this 2 billion when I don't even have 1 billion in my district. You know, and I'm not complaining about it. Kasi, alam mo, for example, like in my district, nandun yung NLEX and SLEX connector passing by. Okay. Ngayon, sa GAA, sa NEP, nakalagay yung budget doon sa 6th District of Manila, pero I don't have any control with that. You know, because that is a national priority project. The same thing perhaps with Arnie Teves in Negros. The same thing perhaps with the speaker in Taguig, where there are national development project or priority project that must be done, but it is beyond our control. Because it is a national project. And I believe every congressman ought to understand that. I fully understand that. For example, like a district where the government will spend 5 billion, and in my district, I only have 500 million. I will not complain because that is what my district needs. Oh.
So are you saying there's a political agenda behind this complaining about the allocation when actually there's really very little that you can do about it?
Well, there might be a political agenda on some people that perhaps do not support the speaker. Oo. Pero sa akin, sa minority, we do not have any political agenda, but just plain work to be able to pass the budget. Sa akin, ang nakakalungkot dito is that dapat talagang ipasa ang budget na ito and we ought to finish that on time because our people need it, really. O yun ang nakakalungkot na nagkakaroon ng ganitong klaseng situations. Now, it might be ng ibang mga congressman, mayroong political agenda rito underneath. But to me, personally, I believe that before you talk about any kind of political intramurals, let us finish the budget first. Pagkatapos ng budget, saka tayo magkaroon ng political intramurals, saka tayo magkaroon ng leadership change. Anyway, okay na naman yun. Anyway, ngayong October, sinabi na ng Pangulo that there will be a term sharing. So why don't we respect that? Yun na lang sa akin. Respect it. Let's get to work on the budget. Let's finish it. Bigyan na sa Senado yan, pirmahan ng Pangulo yan by the 1st of January, and then pagkatapos namin matabaho yung budget, okay, edi magkaroon na ng political intramurals dyan, magkaroon na ng leadership change dyan, whatever
So,
they would
sir,
like.
sir,
Yeah.
I take it that you are for honoring the term sharing.
Yes, I am, because that has been decided upon.
Oh, but the
Oh.
Congress has said that it will respect whatever
Unless
decision.
ganito,
Yes,
unless otherwise there is a change. Ako, naniniwala naman ako that the only time that Congress is not independent is when we talk about the speakership. Pag tapos ng speakership, Congress is again independent. Ibig sabihin, yung leadership change na yan, hindi natin pwede sabihin independent. People know about that because the president would wield his influence.
Yes.
yes.
Oh.
Di ba?
Well, sir, it's not often that congressman would say that publicly and openly. Although it's generally it's generally taken for granted that it is the case. Pero it's not often that somebody from Congress says that quite openly. But that's a very good point, sir. Pero nga po kasi we were talking kanina to Congressman El Rey Villafuerte, and he was giving the impression that I think, well, we all agree that the budget should be the most important aspect here. But given the fact that the budget may be passed by the lower chamber by October or end of October,
End of
after that,
September.
even earlier,
Oh.
and then by that
Earlier,
time,
oo.
it's all bets off.
Yun
Pero
ang hinahabol namin eh.
yes, sir. Pero from our talk with the El Rey Villafrete kanina, parang lumalabas na parang malabonics na from their end si Congressman Lord Alan Velasco, kasi sabi nila walang gravitas, walang ginawa, at hindi nag-perform, and
Walang
so on and so
boto.
forth. Oo, so
Well,
yun ang sinasabi nila.
We will remain naman the minority.
Pero, sige, you're talking about
That's the majority question. It's not a minority question anyway.
You're talking about minority and majority. Pero, alam naman natin, well, since inamin nyo na talaga namang pagdating sa speakership, merong say dyan ng Malacanang.
Yes.
So, if you actually get, indications from Malacanang, sinabi na nga ni Presidente, he's hoping na matutuloy yung gentleman's agreement. Do you see the supermajority shifting and supporting Lord Alan Velasco?
Ayun, it remains to be seen because as I see now, nakikita ko that Speaker Alan Peter is really doing a good job. I'm asking many congressmen about it. Oo. And they said that the Speaker is doing a good job. Na hindi ko lang alam kung halimbawa, kung hindi matutupad yung term sharing, magkakaroon na labanan between them. Hindi ko lang alam yun. Of course, ako, sa paniniwala ko, I believe Speaker Alan Peter will respect the term sharing because he respects the President so much.
So gusto nyo unahin, walang leadership change ngayon lang, basta gawin lang muna yung budget at ituloy yung term sharing as scheduled at the end of October. Yun ang gusto.
Yes. Kasi, alam mo, pangit talaga sa taong bayan eh. I think it would not be good for our people to realize na imbis na tapusan namin yung budget na kailangan ng ating economy, kailangan ng gobyerno, kailangan ng taong bayan, ang pinag-uusapan kagad yung pagbabago ng leadership.
Sir, matanong ko na nga, sabi niyo kanina, you believe that the term sharing agreement should be honored. And
Yes.
that you believe that Speaker Cayetano will honor it. Okay, what's the basis for your belief that he will voluntarily step down and say, okay, my term has ended and now I give way to Congressman Velasco?
Ay, hindi ba yun ang agreement? I mean, it's 15-20, di ba? I mean, the speaker would be the speaker for 15 months. Ang question lang dito, kahit na itong si Lord Alan will be speaker for 20 months ba yun o 21 months?
21.
Pero isang budget hearing lang ang nasa kanya.
Hmm.
Kay Speaker, because it's 15 months, dalawang budget hearing. Yun lang yung pagkakaiba. Oo. Siguro, kaya naggagaliiti siguro yung ibang mga congressman na hindi supportan ni Speaker.
So, sir, just to be clear, sir, are you saying that kasi kanina akala namin kanina that you believe that magkakaroon ng palitan and the speaker will respect the agreement. Pero what I'm understanding from you now is that you're actually just hoping na they will honor the agreement. It's not really.
Unang-una, I believed it because that was already established. Pangalawa, that's a gentleman's agreement. But syempre, you talk about what the 300 congressmen like or the majority like. Wala na akong control doon. You see? I mean,
Sir, yes, sir.
I'm even prepared to lose my job as minority leader if there's any leadership change.
Yes, sir.
Hindi,
Sir, ganito lang, sir. If you have prophetic license, pastor noon po kayo, if you have prophetic license, anong nakikita nyo next month?
Next month?
Given yung mga binitawang salita ng panig ni speaker, although si speaker mukhang hindi pa naman umiimik, pero yung panig niya has been pretty vocal about things, and mukhang at least if you listen to the allies and yung mga panig ni speaker, mukhang gusto nilang ituloy si speaker. So if you had prophetic license, ano nakikita niyo for next month?
So you want me to talk about my prophetic vision?
As an independent of source, you're the minority.
Ganito. Kasi alam nyo, yung utak ko simple lang eh. I have always believed that a gentleman's agreement is there. No? Yun ang pinapaniwalaan ko. Gentleman's agreement is there. As long as it is established by the those two congressmen and the president. Pero on the other hand, hindi ko rin control o abot ang nais ng mga congressman. For example, like if they would like the Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano to continue as congressman, and many of them would like to do that, well, wala tayong magagawa except to accept it.
Sir,
Kaya sabi ko, we will just cross the bridge when we get there. Ngayong October, we are going to see what will happen. You see? Sapagkat nakikita ko, kasi pag ganito yan eh, kapag may gentleman's agreement, and they are able to really respect that, I might still be the minority leader. But if nagkaroon dyan talaga ng, butuhan among the congressman, the other one that will receive the lesser vote becomes a minority leader.
Oh yeah. That's
Di
correct.
ba? Oo. Di ba? Pero wag ka. Lalaban pa rin ako minority leader.
Mag-appropriations committee chairman ka.
teka sir, sundan ko lang yung argument nyo kanina. Tinanong ko kayo, ano ang basis for your belief that Speaker Cayetano will give way to Congressman Lord Alan? Anong basehan nyo for believing that?
My basis is number one, knowing Alan Peter to be an honest man. And therefore, he will respect the gentleman's agreement that the President brokered. Yun ang batayan ko.
Pero ano yung kinalaman ng dalawang budget season na meron si Speaker? Anong kinalaman nun dun? Kasi yun ang sagot mo kanina eh. Nakatapos budget
siguro,
na. Oo.
Tama siguro yung sinabi mo na merong ilang mga congressman that is making it a political issue.
Because budget season is really political.
Yeah, totoo yan. Whenever there would be 1, 2, 3 congressmen that will make it a political issue, Yun ang masyadong mapag-uusapan sa media. Pero most of the congressmen naman are quiet eh. Di ba? I mean, nakikita nyo, kahit merong nangyayari, merong sinasabi, ang mga ilang congressman, 1, 2, 3, tatlo lang ang nagsasalita eh. Yet, most congressmen are quiet. They're not saying anything.
Do you think they're railroading the budget process para ma-delay?
Railroading?
Yes. Para
That,
ma-delay.
that I do not know as now. Okay? I hope they will not do that because we do not want to delay the passing of the budget. Even the minority bloc do not want to delay it. Why? Because of this pandemic. Sana alalahanin na lang ng ibang congressman natin na mayroong political ambition. This is pandemic. And therefore, kalimutan muna yung mga political squabblings.
Pero ang problema daw sa budget hindi daw equitable yung pag-appropriate ng pondo. Yun din ba?
No, it's not. No, it's not equal, but it is equitable.
Okay.
Iba naman kasing equality, iba yung equitability, di ba? Iba yun eh.
So sinasabi niyo it's equitable.
Oh, it's equitable, yes. I believe so, it is.
Hindi yun ang tingin ng
Although hindi ko alam, although hindi ko iniimbestigahan lahat ng budget ng bawat congressman, ha? I don't even know that. Hindi ko iniimbestigahan yan.
What about the budgets of the departments? Are you in favor of how they have aligned the budgets accordingly? No.
No, I'm
Are you
not.
in favor, for example, with the budget that they had given to the Department of Health, the cuts that they had proposed in terms of the institutions that are going to be set up, and so on and so forth? What are your issues as far
I
as
am not in favor of the budget cuts that BBM gave to some departments, like DTI. DTI is a very important agency. Okay? Because ang DTI ang magbibigay ng loans sa mga MSMEs. The DTI will be the one to provide jobs, provide businesses to our people. Pero binawasan ng husto ang budget ng DTI. Kaya nga meron kami resolution to pass na taasan namin ang budget ng DTI. Number 2, the Ombudsman, they slash the Ombudsman's budget to 800 million. Oo. Yeah. Number 3, even the DepEd's budget was also slashed. Oo. Yung DOH, maraming budget yan because of PhilHealth on the universal healthcare program. In fact, I even question, why are we giving a lot of budget to the DOH when we know for a fact that we are investigating corruption in PhilHealth?
Hindi naman. What about DOST? Nag-budget cut din sila.
Yun, isa pa yun. Isa pa yun. Kaya ang talagang problema dito, ang DBM. Because it's DBM that provides the budget cuts. Siguro, they were thinking, according to the Department of Finance, that we will not be able to get as much taxes as we want to in 2021. So they're getting those budget cuts. Pero sa akin those budget cuts, I don't agree with that.
Balikan ko lang yung
NTFL CAC gets 16 billion.
Alin?
NTFL CAC gets 16 billion.
Yung alin?
NTFL CAC, the National Task Force to End Local Communist Insurgency, gets 16 billion.
Hindi ko pa nakita yun eh. Hindi ko pa nakita yung MMDA nga. Malaki ang cut sa kanyang budget eh. Ako, I already said last year, the MMDA has 9,000 job order employees that only receive 9,000 pesos a month and a take-home pay of about 6,000.
Oh, wow.
So how can you avoid how can you avoid corruption on that matter when the MMDA's enforcers only receive that much? Kaya sabi ko, lagyan natin ng enough na pondo para yung mga empleyado ng MDN 9,000 hindi maging JO. Oo, JO. Oh, kaya yung JO hindi na job order sa akin yun, joke only na sa akin yun .
Congressman, balikan ko lang yung gentleman's agreement ha. You're saying na kapag hindi in-honor yan, it will be bad for both Speaker Cayetano and the House. Yan ba yung sinasabi ninyo?
Kapag hindi in-honor, ano yun?
Yung gentleman's agreement sa leadership change, you're
Yes.
saying it will be bad for both the Speaker and the House of Representatives.
I think pag hindi in-honor ang gentleman's agreement na yan, baka merong ibang agreement ang Pangulo.
O ano yun?
Hindi ko alam. Baka ibig sabihin, baka alam mo, baka mamaya sabihin ng Pangulo, I think you're doing a good job, Speaker Alan, why don't you just continue it? Isa yon, ha? Pangalawa, if they will not honor the gentleman's agreement, away ng gusto yan sa Kongreso.
You think? Kahit na super majority raw sila, yung mga case speaker?
Magbibilangan yan ng allies. Na sa akin, ang feeling ko dito, to be honest with all of you, is this. Speaker Alan Peter enjoys the support of most congressmen.
Kaya nga. So, but kaya nga sir, that's why knowing that he has support, I wonder what will make him give way. And you're saying that it's because he's an honorable man, and so he will honor the agreement. But then again, there's so much support behind him, so that must be a difficult decision for him.
Well, we've got to realize that Speaker Alan Peter is also a politician, and you put him in a corner, he's going to fight back. And right now, I think he's being put into a corner. And you put a cat into a corner where he cannot even move anymore, and he's going to fight back, even if he knows that he's mahirap manalo, but he's going to fight back.
Sir, what about Pulong Duterte? Where does he fit in all of this? Kasi last weekend, nagparamdam siya ng ouster against Speaker Cayetano . And of course, you do remember that he was a frontrunner sometime last year. Di ba? Given the questions being raised by Villafuertes, by Cayetano's side about the lack of gravitas daw on the part of Lord Alan Velasco, does Pulong Duterte even factor in as a possible replacement for the Speaker?
It might be, but I don't think the President would agree that Congressman Pulong becomes the Speaker of the House. Also, when he made the statement the other day, it was a statement out of frustration. I would think, sa akin lang yun, out of frustration because of the issues of a DPWH. Pero wala na yun . In fact, Congressman Pulong now, I think is in full support of the Speaker of the House right now.
Okay. Congressman Benny Abante, sir, maraming salamat po for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you.
Thank you po. Ingat po.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ayun, nagbibigyan ng prophetic license .
Abangan na lang ang susunod na kabanata.
Prophetic vision tuloy nakita mo.
Mahaba-haba pa
Tama nga naman siya, di ba? Kung magbotohan for new speaker, kung sino man matalo will be the new minority leader.
Tama.
So, maa-out si Benny Abante kung sakali.
Baka bigyan siya ng mas magandang pwesto. We will never know.
Committee chairmanship na lang.
Committee chairman na lang.
Diba?
Teka, we're going overtime. Pinapalisa tayo. And that will be all for this special edition of the Chiefs. We hope to discuss here. We'll keep the conversation going. I'm at Ligawan News.
I'm Mami Pamintuan of the Philippine Star.
And I'm Lucy Cruz Valdez of News 5, and we are One News.